Hello all. Our today's lecture is on viral diseases caused by hepatitis B viruses. Here we will see second part of this hepatitis B from our core compulsory theory paper TC 3 MB 703 from chapter Introduction to Infectious Diseases. In this, we will see diagnostic test for hepatitis B viruses as well as various therapeutic agents used in the treatment of hepatitis B. As you know, hepatitis is major global health problem and most serious type of viral hepatitis is hepatitis B. It is estimated that about 7,80,000 people die each year due to consequences of hepatitis B such as liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. The virus is highly contagious and is transmitted through contact with the blood or other body fluids of an infected person. As you know, this is called as a parenteral administration of microorganism in the body. Hepatitis B virus can survive outside the body for at least 7 days and is an important occupational hazard for health workers. So here in the diagnosis of this hepatitis B, various tests are used. In that, complete blood count as well as various enzyme analyzing tests, in that aspartate transaminases, alanine transaminases, total bilirubin, alkaline phosphatase, albumin and INR, that is international normalized ratio calculation is used. The complete blood count measures the level of 3 basic blood cells: red blood cells, white blood cells as well as the platelets. The international normalized ratio or INR is a calculation based on results of a PT, that is prothrombin time, that is used to monitor individuals who are being treated with the blood thinning medication. As you know, warfarin is which is anticoagulant used for blood thinning medications, and for that use of this prothrombin time test is widely used. The INR test measures the time for blood to clot and it is also called as a PT, prothrombin time. A low albumin level in patients can be a sign of cirrhosis, and so albumin level is checked in case of a laboratory diagnosis of hepatitis B. Albumin levels can go up and down slightly. Very low albumin levels can cause symptoms of edema or a fluid accumulation in the abdomen. This is called as a ascites, or it can be accumulated in the leg, because of which there is a edema, that is swelling. Alanine aminotransferase level is also checked during this infection. This enzyme is found almost exclusively in the liver and is monitored most closely in a chronic hepatitis B infection. This test is useful in deciding whether a patient would benefit from treatment or for evaluating how well a person is responding to the therapy. The upper limits of a normal for ALT in healthy adult is 35 units per liter for men and 25 units per liter for women. Next enzyme is aspartate aminotransferase, level of which is again tested, where this enzyme is found in the liver as well as the heart and muscles, because of which it is less accurate if you compare with the ALT measurements. ALT is present more when there is a liver damage as comparatively AST. But this enzyme is often ordered to help monitor potential liver damage from the hepatitis B virus So here aspartate amino transferase level is checked during laboratory diagnosis of a hepatitis B. Now next category is of a therapeutic agents. Chronic hepatitis B virus infection remains a major global health burden, and currently two types of treatment. One is by using interferon IFNS and second one is NS, that is nucleotide or nucleoside analogs have been approved. These treatments are effective in suppressing HBV replication and in decreasing the risk of developing cirrhosis, liver failure, hepatocellular carcinoma as well as death. However, these treatments do not eliminate the virus and the risk of cancer, hepatocyte cancer remains. The therapeutic agents which are widely used in case of a hepatitis B, they are long-term or a lifelong therapy having agents, and two classes of antiviral therapies have been approved, as you know, IFN and NS. An advantage of interferon is that it results in higher rates of HBe antigen and HBs antigen loss. As you know, surface antigen which is present or Australia antigen which is present during infection by hepatitis B is neutralized because of this interferons, and same is applicable to the hepatitis E antigen. That is, these interferons are protective type of antibodies during hepatitis B infection. Novel antiviral therapies can be used in the treatment of hepatitis B. Recent major scientific discoveries have allowed a better understanding of the HBV life cycle, including identification of a cellular receptor for HBV entry, and based on that therapies are now recommended. HBV entry inhibitors we have to study in detail in this case. The pathway by which HBV enters hepatocytes involves attachment of the virus to heparan sulfate proteoglycans, allowing the binding of HBV pre-S1 to human sodium taurocholate contrasporting polypeptide. This is very important polypeptide which couples the transport of chemical substances across the cell membrane. Again, I will repeat, heparan sulfate proteoglycans allows the binding of hepatitis B virus pre-S1 to human sodium taurocholate contrasporting polypeptide. Contrasporting means the coupled transport of chemical substances across the cell membrane. This NTCP is most important part of inhibitor in case of HBV entry. This is followed by membrane fusion and nucleocapsid release in the cytoplasm of infected cell. Entry inhibitors can be classified according to their modes of action. Neutralizing antibodies target the antigenic loop of HBV S domain. These antibodies are highly specific but require parenteral administration, and large quantities of antibodies are necessary to neutralize circulating subviral envelope particles. Second one is attachment inhibitors. These are negatively or positively charged drugs that bind the virus. Example is of a heparin or a cellular heparan sulfate proteoglycans. They are efficient but they are not specific. Substrates of NTCP include conjugated bile salts like taurocholate, azacitidine and other small molecules that are transported by NTCP. Irreversible NTCP inhibitors are mycludex B, cyclosporin A, and derivatives are allosteric inhibitors of NTCP. They irreversibly block receptor function at non-saturating concentrations and have long half-life at the receptor, but they can block transport of bile salts and other NTCP substrate at higher concentrations. These therapeutic agents have goal of antiviral treatment are to decrease the morbidity and mortality related to chronic hepatitis B. Here use of page IFN-2A for adults and IFN-2A-2B for children. This page IFN-2A means page interferon alpha 2A, which is a form of recombinant interferon used as a part of combination therapy to treat chronic hepatitis B. This page interferon alpha 2A is derived from alpha 2A moiety of recombinant human interferon and acts by binding to human type 1 interferon receptors. Page interferon alpha 2A can be used alongside with some drugs like ribavirin with the intent to cure after 48 weeks of a therapy. Now, in the next part, we will see some antiviral agents used in the treatment of a hepatitis B. In this, use of a lamivudine, telbivudine, entecavir, adafovir and tenofovir. Besides this, vaccines play very important role in the not exactly treatment of a hepatitis, but for the prophylactic purpose. Hepatitis B is preventable with currently available safe and effective vaccines. WHO recommends that all infants should receive their first dose of vaccine as soon as possible after birth, preferably within 24 hours. Delivery of hepatitis B vaccine within 24 hours of a birth should be a performance indicator for all immunization programs. The birth dose should be followed by 2 or 3 doses to complete the primary series. There is no evidence to support the need for a booster dose of hepatitis B vaccine. Protection lasts at least 20 years and is possibly lifelong. This vaccination program have focused on eliminating perinatal transmission to neonates, where the risk of developing chronic infection is 70 to 95%, and to young infants, that is in toddlers, where the risk of developing chronic infection is estimated at 30%. Now, see about hepatitis B vaccines, how they develop. The first hepatitis B vaccine to become available commercially in 1982 only. It is consisted of HBs antigen, surface antigen, Australia antigen purified from the plasma of a person with chronic HBV infection. This one is inactivated and preserved in thiomersal with adjuvant. This vaccine has now been replaced by recombinant vaccines that are free of any concerns associated with human blood products. Otherwise, there is a problem during cross matching while administration of this first hepatitis B vaccine. The HBs antigen gene has been inserted into yeast in the development of a recombinant DNA vaccine. Insertion of a antigen gene, HBs surface antigen gene into the yeast like Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Pichia pastoris and Hansenula polymorpha. Mammalian cells can be used for this, that is example is of a Chinese hamster ovary CHO cells, and by means of appropriate expression vector they are administered, and afterward production of a hepatitis B vaccine, and this one for over 20 years was carried out. Prevention of the spread of a virus is because of vaccination only. Given the availability of a safe and effective vaccines, a major global public health goal is the prevention of the spread of this virus. Chronically infected people remain an ongoing source of infection, and the spread of this virus will only be stopped after several generations of a targeted vaccination. The adaptive immune response is thought to be responsible for viral clearance and disease pathogenesis during hepatitis B virus infection. It is generally acknowledged that The humoral antibody response contributes to the clearance of circulating virus particles and the prevention of viral spread within the host, while the cellular immune response eliminates infected cells. Here the T cell response to the hepatitis B virus HBV is vigorous, polyclonal and multispecific in acutely infected patients who successfully clear the virus, and relatively weak and narrowly focused in chronically infected patients, suggesting that clearance of hepatitis B viruses is T cell dependent. In the vaccination against HBV, it is introduced to control morbidity and mortality associated with this virus. Until 1997, in most Western countries, including Australia, had politics aim at limiting the spread of the virus only in at-risk individuals, rather than population-based immunization strategies, that is, universal infant immunization with catch-up program. But as a part of WHO, World Health Organization program for the control of hepatitis B, this selective policy has now been abandoned and a wider program adopted, where inclusion of the same virus is hepatitis B virus in the infant immunization program. Until hepatitis B virus can be incorporated into multivalent childhood vaccine, all adolescents between 10 and 16 years who have not previously been vaccinated should receive 3 doses of standard HBV vaccine. At-risk infants, those with HBs antigen positive mother, or those from high prevalence should start a course of 3 vaccinations within 7 days of birth. In addition to the vaccine, the children of HBs antigen positive mothers should receive passive immunization. Here in the passive immunization, 100 international units of hepatitis B immunoglobulins HBIG intramuscularly administered into the lateral thigh within 12 hours of birth. This will protect them. Individuals at increased risk of acquiring HBV infection who should be routinely vaccinated, list of which given here, where persons at risk for infection by percutaneous or mucosal exposure to the blood are considered first. Here, current or recent injection drug users are in this risk category. Household contacts of HBs antigen positive persons, as these are possibly chronic carriers, they may transmit infection to their contacts. Residents and staff of facilities for developmentally disabled persons, they also included in the persons at risk category. Healthcare and public safety personnel, that is doctors etc., they also in the risk category. Then the patients having hemodialysis and pre-dialysis, peritoneal dialysis and home dialysis patients are in the risk category included. Persons with diabetes age 19 to 59 years. Others like international travelers to countries with high or intermediate levels of endemic hepatitis B virus infection, where hepatitis surface antigen prevalence is more than 2%. So, to the people in this category also included in the person at risk category. Persons with hepatitis C virus infection, they also immunized by using hepatitis B vaccine. Persons with chronic liver disease, including but not limited to persons with cirrhosis, fatty liver disease, alcoholic liver disease, autoimmune hepatitis, or an alanine transferase or a AST, that is aspartate aminotransferase level greater than twice the upper limit of a normal. So, in that requirement of such a type of a vaccination. Persons with HIV infection, then incarcerated person, that is imprisoned category, all other persons seeking protection from HBV infection are allowed to take vaccine for hepatitis B. There is one more category, vaccine non-responders. a non-responder is a person who, despite a correctly administered full course of a standard HBV vaccine, does not mount an antibodies against surface antigen when tested 8 to 12 weeks after the third vaccination. An anti-HBs titer of such a category is less than 10 international unit per ml, and they are considered as a negative. Pre-exposure prophylaxis in non-responders is one strategy for dealing with non-responders to first evaluate the risk of an individual patient. If the patient has no identifiable risk factors for HBV and does not work in an environment which places the individual at a high risk of HBV transmission, the revaccination is not essential. One more category is there in the therapy for hepatitis B in preventing type B hepatitis, which is of a passive immunization. Passive immunization, here ready-made antibodies are allowed to enter in the body to neutralize hepatitis B viruses. So, here standard immunoglobulin IG and hepatitis B immunoglobulin, that is HBIG, they are normally used in such a case. They may be in pre-exposure or a post-exposure settings. The current data suggests that this HBIG, hepatitis B immunoglobulins, and standard immunoglobulin containing some antibodies to HBs antigen may be effective. It is recommended that HBIG be used for the post-exposure prophylaxis of individuals sustaining accidental needle stick or a mucosal exposure to blood known to contain hepatitis B surface antigen. For example, in case of a fetus, accidental needle stick injury is not considered, but from HBs positive mother, when she gives birth to the offspring, at that time a requirement of such a type of passive immunization. If HBIG is unavailable, the standard IG may be beneficial. So, this is all about some tests which are used in the laboratory diagnosis of hepatitis B, as well as therapeutic measures including antivirals, the use of a passive immunization, and some type of treatment where there is main role of some drugs which not allow entry of the virus in the body cells, they are included. That is all about hepatitis B disease. Thank you very much.